Well, I told you yesterday, write everything in pencil because I'm back here with another update in response to Governor Walz's announcement last night. So I wanted to give you some background and history to why the overseers made the decision that we made this past week. So we had an hour and a half discussion just related to this issue, and initially we were not all on the same page about what we were going to do. But after spending an hour and a half together digging into some of the discussion and details and data that was given to us, the vote was unanimous for us to go virtual effective November 29th. Now, I initially came into that meeting wanting to continue the in-person meetings as long as we possibly could, but there were a few things that changed my mind. First was seeing who was here last Sunday after our announcement. Many of the people that came to the in-person gathering were high risk, and so I want to do whatever I can as the pastor here to bend over backwards in my love and care for them. Second, the numbers that we're seeing are continuing to skyrocket in our county. So the high school and middle school shut down at something like 25 cases out of 10,000. The elementary's number was 50 cases out of 10,000. But one thing that you need to know is those published numbers that come out are 2 weeks old. So that 49.3 infection rate that you've seen thrown around was effective October 31st. So Halloween night, that was the number. On Tuesday, as we were meeting, the raw number that was released was something like 122 cases out of 10,000. That means that it has almost tripled in the 2 weeks since that first number was published. And we're seeing those numbers continue rising dramatically. Third, we need to be thinking about how we can love our community well. I just found out today, there are some people from our church that are being put on furlough effective Saturday morning. That means that they do not have their normal source of income. So if we as Christians continue standing on our rights and demand that we are going to continue meeting in spite of everything else being closed around us, it's honestly not a great look to the world that in some cases is having their livelihood taken away from them. Fourth, yes, we all as individuals have individual choices and individually could determine if we wanted to come together. But Ephesians 5:19, Ephesians 5 and Colossians 3 are two of my favorite passages to go and read in relation to what we're doing when we gather together corporately as God's people. And Ephesians 5:19, wrapping up the entire summary of corporate worship, Paul says, commands us to submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. So as overseers, we were praying about how we could best love and submit to one another with everything that's going on around us. So we decided to do November 29th because that's right after people will be coming back from many of their Thanksgiving plans and travels. I personally expect that we're going to see cases continue rising dramatically up until December 13th. Now that date is because that's 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. So there's an up to a 2-week intubation period for this COVID disease. And so then I'm guessing and hoping and praying that after that point, we'll see cases starting to decrease again, which then we'll be able to start having some more fun conversations about when can we start meeting together again. I'm hoping that'll be end of the year, beginning of 2021, but continue praying and we'll continue looking at where the numbers are. The latest update from the governor, so he's continuing to release these kinds of things. Similar to what I'm doing for you, it seems like he's doing weekly updates right now where things keep changing and getting tweaked based on the recently released data. What he actually says in here is virtual services are strongly recommended and in-person services are advised to include the smallest number of participants possible. Congregational singing is strongly discouraged. So some of this is us, again, trying to be as obedient as we can, as Romans 13 reminds us, as obedient as we possibly can to our governing authorities. Now, none of these decisions are easy to make right now. So I'm trying to get all of us to use the best data we can. I and the overseers have spent a great deal of time in prayer. We're talking through all the options, and then we have to make some kind of decision as to what is going to be best for our body. Now, I don't think this was the primary decision that any of us as overseers wanted to make. It's not the decision that I wanted to be making. But as I continue talking to other people, other churches in the area, and the more I see more information coming through, I think this is the right decision for where we're at today. Some of you have also been asking about other groups meeting, and so So effective at 11:59 p.m. on Friday, this coming Friday, November 20th, we will not be able to have any more gatherings at the church. So everything will be going virtual. If you need help setting up any Zoom meetings, reach out to either me or Jeremy. We would love to help you get that set up. And another reminder, if you are not yet in a small group and would like to be in one, please reach out to Pastor Bruce at outreach@ssefc.org. If you need to talk to a pastor, please reach out to any three of us. I continue praying for you and want to come alongside you if anything comes up that you need help on or that you need prayer on. If you want to come in person, please reach out to us, or if you'd rather meet over Zoom, we can totally set that up, whatever is easiest and most comfortable for you. I also want to encourage you that in the midst of what looks like is going to be a very difficult Christmas season, I'd encourage you to take some time to continue marveling at what we're celebrating. I think so often Christmas just becomes a holiday season that is full of sentimentality. But the reason that we're celebrating, the reason that we celebrate Christmas every year is because the Creator became creation. The author of everything in existence wrote himself into the story. One of my favorite quotes that I've read, and I don't even remember who said it, but the Son of God became a son of man to enable sons and daughters of men to become sons and daughters of God. What a wonderful privilege that we have. Jesus Christ took on flesh and lived among us so that we could now have access to our Father through faith in him. I am continuing to pray for us and continue to pray for me as well, because honestly, I am really tired. Doing online services is not fun. It takes way more time than just doing it in person, and I don't even get the privilege of seeing you in person. I'd also ask you, please do not be out of sight and out of mind. I want to know how I can continue praying for you. I want to hear stories of how you are finding creative ways to reach out to your neighbors. Some of you have already emailed me and told me some of the things that you've been able to do because of some of the tweaks that we've had to make to meeting in person. And I also want to encourage you, see if you can find creative ways to reach out to your church body. Call them, write them, text, snail mail, drop off some food for them. Let's use this pandemic to reach out to some of those people that we haven't talked to for a while. One of my prayers since all of these things started happening in March is that we'd start meeting people in 10, 15, 20 years down the road who will tell you how God used this COVID pandemic to draw them to himself. And Christmas is a great time to reach out because pretty much everyone in our country celebrates Christmas. They may not always know why we celebrate Christmas, but let's use Christmas as an opportunity to try to intentionally reach out to our neighbors. All that to say, another reminder, our last in-person service will be this coming Sunday, the 22nd at 10:30, and then we'll be fully online starting November 29th. We will have no more in-person small groups, meetings, or events following the latest updated protocols for our state. I will continue doing these video updates regularly. I will try to be doing them weekly for you to keep you aware and to try to keep you as up to date as I possibly can. I'm praying for you all. I love you all, and I'm excited to hear how God uses us over these coming weeks of worshiping through our witness.